My name's Grant Cardone. This is the Cardone Zone every damn day. I'm going to show you how to get money a lot cheaper than this. Hey, get yourself in a position to sit in that chair right there. Are you the solution or are you the problem?
Yeah, well, we're talking about what does it take?
They don't know you and they're not thinking about you. They do know you and they're not thinking about you.
They forgot you. My name's Grant Cardone. You are in the Cardone Zone where I wake you up, I shake you up, I punch you in the face, but mostly, I'm that good uncle.
What's happening, Grant Cardone?
Yeah, what's happening, man? You got a deal or you got a question?
Everybody needs to find somebody like Grant that can really help and mentor them and, give them the information and the data that they never had growing up. Like, I don't know about you guys, but like my parents weren't rich. You know, like my parents were told the same story that most everybody's parents told them. You know, 401ks, buy a home, buy 2 cars, stay in one place, don't move. Like all these stories that continue to perpetuate through generations. And I had to come across some information from this guy Grant that really disrupted all that. You see, like, you got to be careful who you're getting information from, because the person that you're getting information from may have a different end result than you're looking for. Like if the 4-hour work week, for example, I know it's not a 4-hour work week and it's about outsourcing and everything, but maybe you want to be involved. Maybe you want to have some place to show up to every day. Like I show up to this office every day. It feels good, man. We got a lot of people here. They're all committed to doing something big, and it feels good. Like, my thing, do I want to be on the perpetual vacation? I got to do something, man. When I go on vacation, I get bored. And so I had to get advice from somebody that was actually like in line with where I wanted to go. So today's show is going to be about how to pull your future forward. This was a very important thing for me because I have very little patience. When I finally decided and got committed to wanting to do something big, like when I really understood how much money it's going to take for me to have like the lifestyle that I wanted, and I started thinking bigger, I was like, man, I don't want to wait till I'm 60 for this. Have you guys ever like experienced that where you're like, man, dude, I don't want to wait till I'm an old man to like have money. Like, I don't want to wait until, all my good years have passed me before I can actually enjoy things and go on vacations. And I got to tell you, like once you get committed to the big thing, that next thing that you're going to need to confront is, how do I make it happen faster? And so for me, I was like, man, I was calculating how to make this thing fast, how to make this thing go fast. And I got some really good news this week. I'll share you guys with you guys. I'm not boasting. I'm doing this because I want to share with you what is possible if you get committed to the right things. I've been investing in real estate deals with Grant for the last 6 years, 5.5 years. The first 3 deals that I invested in with Grant, the first deal I gave him $100,000, the second deal I gave him $150,000, and the third deal I gave him $185,000. And that was every penny that I had. And when I wrote that first check for $100,000 and I started getting the little cash flow checks every month, I was like, man, I thought this would feel different, right? Like I get like a $500 check, a $600 check. I'm like, I felt like investing $100,000 would feel a lot different than that, and I couldn't understand it, and I got so impatient. I was like, man, if I got to do this $100,000 at a time and $100,000 at a time, it's going to take me forever to get where I want to go. But I kept focus on the target, which was, dude, I want to get a bunch of money packed away in real estate so that I have passive income. So I kept hustling and grinding because I knew that my primary source of income, my job, was going to be the thing that funded the real estate investment. So some things happened and some good things happened with the deal, and I was able to get some money, make some more money, and I was able to make my second investment with $150,000. Now I got 2 checks coming. So now I can start now I got like $1,000, $1,100, $1,200 a month, sometimes $1,400, $1,500 a month coming in. And I'm like, wow, okay, like I'm making, at this time I was probably making like 16 or 17 or 18 grand a month or something like that. But I was packing everything away. Like I still drove my mom's busted ass Lexus that she gave me that would turn off while I was driving down the road. But like, I was still like paying $800 a month for rent, like not buying stuff. Like I was still packing everything that I made away. And the third deal came along, and I invested some more money, and so that was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and today those three first deals that I was so impatient about, and I couldn't see the future on those deals. We had 2 that refinanced and 1 that sold, and I'm going to get a check for almost $1.1 million in cash. And the best part is that it's a non-taxable event. $1 million cash free. 5 years ago, I would have never thought that would be what I'm saying today 5 years later, right? Because in the moment, you get so impatient. And so, like, the lesson that I learned was, dude, you got to do things in order to pull your future forward. Because if you're on board with the fact that you want to make it big and you want to get rich, but you don't want to wait, you have to start doing things now that you may not see the result from until down the road. Like, I had no way of knowing that when I wrote that check for $100,000 on that first deal, that investment would pay me $500,000 5 years later. So there's a couple things that I want to talk about to help you pull your future forward. The very first thing that you need to do in order to pull your future forward is you've got to have a mentor. Like I didn't have the information or the knowledge or the skill to do the real estate thing. I didn't have that. I had to have somebody that taught me that. So, fortunately I had Grant. I never asked him about this. I just watched and listened. Same thing you guys are doing right now. You watch, you listen, you follow. Like, you don't need to be in the room face to face with somebody for them to be your mentor. Mentors will change your game forever. When we get back from the break, I'm going to cover a few more of these points. Very important, because I want to pull your future forward and get you where you want to go faster. This is Young Hustlers.
$10 million to put on this event. Somewhere around $10 million, probably over that. I just don't want to admit it.
No one fills up a stadium with 35,000 people for personal development.
They're not only coming back, it's growing.
So to be here and to be able to listen to several, you're going to get so much information.
And I think what Grant Cardone has done maybe better than any person in the world is he has empowered people. He's 10x them.
The fact that Grant is around all these people, I know he's doing something right.
We just came from Poland, from Romania.
Coming all the way from Israel.
I'm from Italy. We are very excited to see Grant Cardone.
I've been following Grant for about 6 months, and it's been the craziest 6 months of my life.
Ever since I started following Grant, my money's doubled.
We've had 300% growth in our business.
In 1 year, we've increased our sales by $250,000.
A few years ago, I was in a car accident. I hit a tree at 120 miles an hour. I woke up not knowing 10 years of my life, so I was lost. I went from just being a leasing consultant with a $25,000 income, now I'm making 6 figures, and it wouldn't have been possible without Grant Cardone.
Something's really wrong with Grant. He's so crazy, man, but his craziness is so compelling. I'm attracted to crazy people, because in order to be successful, it's got to be something wrong with you.
It's possible to live your dream if you work hard, if you're consistent, if you follow the Cardones.
But you can no longer afford to play small, to think small, or to act small.
So you guys could leave here and say, I just went to the best conference I've ever been to.
Hey, what's going on? We're back, Young Hustlers. The show today is about how to pull your future forward. Word of warning for anybody listening. Warning, warning. The purpose of this show and the information that we talk about in this show is for people that want to take extraordinary actions in order to get down the path faster, right? Like, most people are saying, how do I get to $2 or $3 million by the time I'm 60? I'm trying to be like, how do I get to $2 or $3 million this year? You know, and then I change my action and I start putting a plan in place. So I talked before the break about the value of a mentor, like the value of exchange and transfer of information from people who are already at or well beyond where you want to go in life. One of the most important things. So for me, like I have a mentor. His name's Grant. You know, do I ask him for advice all the time? Hey man, how should I do this? What should I do with this? If you were me, I could count literally on probably one hand the amount of times I've asked him for help like that. The most recent thing that I can ask him about is a relationship, like my marriage. Like, I'm not asking about money. I'm not asking about any of that stuff. I'm like, hey, dude, what's up with the marriage thing, man? So like, I can't emphasize enough the value of having somebody that can share information. So you guys got to stay close to Grant. Like, you gotta look at the things he does and says. I mean, and I'll tell you, the guy has a great time. Like, he has fun. You know, like he would have a lot more fun if it wasn't for me. Because I'm always like, man, we can't do that. Don't post that there. Don't do that. It's not appropriate. We can't, like, he likes to have a good time. He likes to have fun. And so when I look at him, I'm like, man, he makes a brick of money and he has a great time doing it. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to make a ton of money and I want to have a great time doing it. So I'm just watching and I'm learning. And I know when he gets serious, and I know how he looks at real estate, and I know how he treats money, and I know how he treats his family. Like, I look at all those things. I'm watching. I'm looking at the same stuff you guys are. So number one, you've got to have a mentor. Number two, you have to belong to a group. This is probably one of the more difficult things to do. To have a group of people around you that actually can support you. For most of us, we don't have relationships with our parents, number one, where they could communicate this information. About doing big things fast. And then number two, we probably don't want to listen to them anyways because they're our parents, you know? Like, I'll find reasons why my parents, whatever they tell me is wrong. You know? I don't know about you guys, but I'm like, no, man, right? My dad tells me something, Grant tells me something, I'm like, yeah, you're right, Grant. Dad, you don't know nothing, Dad. No, I love my dad, he's awesome. But you got to belong to a group. You have to have a group of people that are like-minded, that are willing to support and encourage and be with you on the ride through the ups and downs, because accelerating the path to your future is not like, it's not the easy street. It's not, cruising in the car down the road. It's taking every gear to red line, like driving on the borderline of out of control all the time. That's what you have to do in order to get where you want to go faster. So if you feel like you're in like mellow mode in your life, dude, you're never going to be there. Like, you're never going to get to the point where you're like really cracking things and you're really knocking years off of how long it's going to take you to reach your goal. Like, you got to be, I used to ride a motorcycle, dirt bike. All the time. Every weekend we'd go ride. I was always out of control on that thing. I was like on the verge of crashing all the time, And so that's how you have to approach this thing. You got to be willing to go all in. Like, I've spent, over the last 2 weeks, I've been on probably 6 or 7 planes, overnight flights, hotels, families, funerals, working on stuff that we have going on in the office. Like, that's just the game, dude. Like, that is what success is. And so, because it's difficult, you need people that are willing to like freaking crack on you. Like my guy Dave Robards, he's like, I just went and told him, I'm like, hey dude, you know how much money I made this week on real estate deals? $1 million, cash, bro, in hand. And he's like, wow, man, because it feels like it's taken forever. I'm like, yeah, I was in the same position. You made that first investment like 6 months ago. Dude, my first investment was made almost 4 years ago, and I'm just experiencing this. So like, in the moment, what you guys got to understand is it's going to seem like it's forever away, and that's why you've got to get a little bit freaking out of control with what you're doing, moving towards those targets. And you got to say yes to the meeting at 6 a.m. That means that you got to fly in, the night before, and that night before you were just coming back from another trip, and like, you got to go out in every direction so aggressively. And when you come back and you have family that isn't supportive, or friends that aren't supportive, or people that just, they're not helping you along the way, they're trying to give you a reason to back off, dude, it's gonna delay how long it takes you to get where you want to go. And if you want to be to the destination, whatever you want to call this thing, dude, you got to go all in, and you got to move fast, and you got to have people around you that are going to support you. Like our group here, it's my job, right? But this group in this office everybody wants to do something more. Like, they all want more here. Like, we got 120 people here. Everybody wants to do more. Like, there may be like 3 or 4 that are just kind of like whatever, but every day this message is infiltrating our office and our space. And then I get connected to people around the country, you know, whether it's Las Vegas or New York or Chicago or Texas, Dallas, Texas, whatever. Like, I get connected with people that are like, I'm like, okay, hey man, these are people that like, they want to do more. They're not just takers, right? They can give back in some way. Like, it'll be like, there'll be a cycle, right? So dude, like, I'm always looking for people that I can bring into my group that we can help and learn from each other and elevate. So you got to belong to a group. And if you can't find that group at home, and you can't find that group with your friends and family in your own city, you've got to find that group somewhere. We get back from the break, I'm going to go over the last point, very important, how to pull your future forward this week on Young Hustlers. Hustler.
All right, so look, the purpose here is to answer your questions that are going on with what you're getting. Okay, there's a lot of content here. I probably have too much information. Okay, you had a question, sir.
What's senior to you, intuition or stats when hiring and retaining and firing?
A lot of employees think, oh, that's not my job. It's just that employee mindset.
Do you think that that's kind of like a psychological power move in a way?
But do I go back over and over until I master that?
What would you recommend for smaller companies that don't necessarily have the ability to like train?
How do we make them pass the test?
How can me as a salesperson, apply some of this stuff that we've been learning about the executive roles and start to create that culture even though I'm not in that position?
What's their profile look like for your best salespeople?
Our entire company is remote. Salespeople, it becomes a problem as we start to scale.
Struggling with the finesse to speak about what we do, struggling on the phone, struggling implementing what you do. What's your suggestion?
All right, we're back, Young Hustlers. I want to get to the phones. They're all lit up right now. We're talking about how to bring your future forward, get where you want to go faster, accelerate your journey. Who do we got, Kelvin?
We have Mo from Canada.
Mo from Canada. What's going on, Mo? Hey, yo, Mo, thanks for calling the show.
For sure. Yo, I've actually been in a struggle lately. Just couldn't decide what to do. So I'm a marketer. I've learned marketing in the past 2 years. And now it's time to get more clients, right?
Yeah.
However, to get clients, I need to know sales, right? Growing up, I was very passionate about sales. I really wanted to learn it. But, where I live right now, door-to-door sales are almost illegal, right? No soliciting signs everywhere and whatnot. And so I've stuck to the cold calling approach. And so far, it hasn't been going that well. I haven't been getting in touch with the decision makers. Instead, with their people. I've gone to meetings with their people, but it hasn't worked out. So I've been thinking whether I should learn sales or hire people that could help me out and pay them commission.
Both. If you plan on starting a business, sales is going to be a big part of it. You're going to be negotiating salaries. You're going to be negotiating leases. You're going to be negotiating with vendors. You're going to be negotiating with customers. Like, sales will be a part of your life no matter what you do if you live on planet Earth.
For sure.
So you've got to learn that first. Okay. The second thing is, yes, you should definitely hire salespeople and pay them commission, because that's how you can grow and expand, right? Like, salespeople don't cost you money; they make you money. So I would say do both. If you haven't taken sales courses or anything like that, dude, you got to get on that, because you're on an economic planet, and the people that can talk and communicate and persuade and get what they want in situations are the ones that win big. So thank you for the call. Mo from Canada. Who do we got next? Canada.
So next we got Julian from Baltimore.
Julian from Baltimore. What's going on, Jay?
Hey, how are you, man?
Good, man. What's up?
Nothing. First I want to just say thank you so much for all of the insight that you give. I really appreciate your story. Obviously, Grant's story is phenomenal, but your story also is great. And I just want to thank you guys for all that you do. I do have a question, though.
Yep.
So I'm seen as a nice guy in my industry as far as when people talk to me, interact with me. I know they just see me as a nice guy, and I want to get away from that, be able to close people, and not just say, "Oh, you're such a nice guy," and actually be able to apply a little more pressure, and not just be seen as a nice guy, but to close it.
Yeah, well, like that has nothing to do with you being a nice guy. It just has to do with you not knowing what to do or say in the situation. I mean, like I'm a nice guy too, but like I have technique, like I have word tracks, like I understand where I'm at in the deal and how I need to get things done. Like, to be a closer, you don't have to be a dick. Like I think people think that they have to have this big change in who they are as a person in order to be successful in sales. Like, dude, if you're quiet, if you're extroverted, if you're a strong personality, if you're more supportive, like, dude, it doesn't matter. It's like following a recipe in the kitchen. I don't need to be a professional chef to follow a recipe. If you tell me the ingredients and how to cook it, all you got to do is follow the instructions. So sales isn't a personality-based thing. It's a technique-based thing. It's a skill-based thing. Like, you just got to learn how to do the things in the process and ask the right questions, show the product in a way that actually solves problems for the customer, tailor the presentation around their needs, and then ask them for the business. Like, I don't know why people think this is so hard. Like, it's about understanding A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's it. Like, step A, what do I need to do? Step B, what do I need to do? And then you got to get in the ring and repeat it enough to where it becomes fluid. The one question that you need to add to your sales repertoire, anybody who has like any aversion to the close, the one question that you need to ask, like if you're in a presentation, you're like, oh man, like I'm kind of at the end of my deal here. Like, how do I get to the next step? Like, how do I, without being like, so what do you think? You ask them this question. You can practice it, you can repeat it, you can drill it, and you can say it with total confidence. Have you seen enough to make a decision? That's it. It's such an easy question, and it's a bridge. It gets you into the close. Have you seen enough to make a decision? Like, you don't have to be some aggro, super type A. Are you ready to do it now? Let me tell you something, Mean Gene. You don't have to go all Hulkamania on him. Dude, have you seen enough to make a decision? No, completely understand. Let me continue with my presentation. Have you seen enough to make sense of the money? Are you ready? Are you ready to roll, man? Let's do this. Let's go. Try to initiate the objection and then solve the problem. If you feel like sales is a guessing game, then there's a lot you don't understand about sales. So my advice to you, Julian, is educate yourself on sales, buy sales programs. This show isn't something that like I get paid for. Like, typically I'm in the middle of 7 different things and somebody's like, hey, by the way, you've got a show in 10 minutes. And I'm like, well, how can I give? How can I give value? How can I help people? How can I use my story with where I'm at, with what I've seen, with where I've come from? How can I use that to give some guidance or just some more certainty that, like, dude, when you show up every day and you're pounding and you're grinding, you may not see anything come of it that day. But if you do that consistently over time, it pays off. So, like, you've just got to get on a track. You've got to get on a track and you've got to dig in and you got to put the blinders on and not get distracted. Too many times people are actually in a situation where they can win, but they get distracted by the Bitcoin or by the this or by the that or by they get distracted and they're not even going all in with where they're at. They work a job where they have so much opportunity from 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, and then at 6 o'clock they go off and they start some side hustle. And you're like, man, you could get more opportunity out of the job that you show up to every day if you just committed more. If you just showed up more, if you just hung around for a couple extra hours, if you showed up on a Saturday, even though you don't show up on Saturdays, and just like sat in the office and tried to figure something out, like there's opportunity everywhere. And I think people get distracted too fast. So like, dude, you just gotta commit to where you're at. Like it's follow the steps. Like understand, learn sales, find a mentor, join a group so you have support, and then find a way to continue to give back to people. Like the 85% of what we do here, we don't get paid for. It's all a give back. It's all just information that we're using to give back. You know, people take our free information and have complete radical transformations in their life, in their ability to produce income. A guy just hit me up. He's like, dude, since I've followed you, I went from 70 grand a year to 150 on Instagram. Like, dude, that's freaking awesome, dude. That is a game changer for people. You know, but don't stop there, man. Don't be a bitch. Don't stop. Like, you got to take that 150 to 1 million. You know, like you got to go from $1 million a year target to $1 million a month target, which I did. I was like, man, I got to make $1 million a year. I start getting close to that goal. I'm like, man, I need to make $1 million a month. Guess what? I had $1 million a month, son. Dude, and now it's real to me. Like, I'm like, damn, dude, it can happen. So you got to figure out, like, okay, who am I going to get advice from and information from? And does that support where I want to go and who I want to be in life? Okay. Number 2. Dude, how can I get people around me that will support me? If you find people, a group of people that's big enough, that's looking for a group, that's looking for opportunity, and that is actually like optimistic about things, dude, freaking magic happens. Magic. Because most people aren't even aware that the people that they're surrounded with in their life don't probably even want to see them do well. Because it's a reminder of something that they're unable to do on their own. It's a trip. People you love, like your brother, your sister, your family, dude. Like, these are some hard conversations, right? Like, oh man, why are you working so much? Dude, I had friends that were like, dude, why are you working so much? I hope this thing works out for you, this Grant Cardone guy. I hope he's not scamming you and, you know, you're doing all this stuff and it's never going to pay off. I think it paid off. So, like, just got to get committed to the deal, man. I'm just telling you guys what I did. I was able to get mentorship from Grant from a distance. We built a company where every day we show up, people are talking about winning and having successes. I've got people I'm connected to around the country that are all positive, that are all looking to crush and do things big, that I get connected with, that I get inspiration from. And then I try to come on here and I try to give back. I try to help people. I try to transfer what I've learned to somebody else, and hopefully you can do something with it. So, we got any more people on the call? Let's go to another caller.
All right, so we have Steven from Santa Barbara.
Steven, what's going on, man?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for calling into the show.
Take my call. Appreciate you taking my call, and I just want to say congratulations for all you guys do. Really appreciate that. A quick question for you. It might be more of a Monday show question, but you were talking earlier about returns with Cardone Capital. I am an accredited investor. I've actually sent my accreditation certification into Melissa.
Awesome.
And, you know, I want to know, where can I get some historic, you know, because you and Grant always talk about these great returns, and I know that the preferred offering is a lot less than that. You know, and I know you can't promise the world, but where can I see some historical evidence on that? That's my first question. And then secondly, I'd just like to comment that, you know, you talk about getting to 60 years old and having $2 million. You know, I fell for the dream that was given to me by my parents, and you know, I am 60 years old. I am worth $2 million net worth, but you know what? I feel like I'm broke.
Yeah.
So all you young folks out there that are listening, you know, you don't want to end up like me because, you know, I believed in the dream. I saved my money. I flew under the radar, all that stuff, and that's a mistake. You know, don't do it. Now I'm trying to play catch up. You know, I'm not destitute, but, you know, even with the net worth I have, I feel like Grant says, you know, the middle class is just not, there is no middle class.
Millionaire is the new middle class.
I need more.
Millionaire is the new middle class.
Yeah, and Santa Barbara millionaire is nothing.
Yeah, no, like, you know, it's a highly affluent area. It's expensive. It's California, so you got a bunch of taxes you're getting banged on with. So, but, you know, like, you made a really good point. Like, you know, the information that you're getting, you have to be sure that the people that are giving you the information are where you want to be and where you want to go in life. Like, Grant had a beautiful thing he said about the banks, the 401k thing, the banks that they tell you. He's like, dude, the banks will not loan you money to buy their own stock, but they'll loan you money to buy real estate. What does that say about the banks? Right? It's crazy.
Not much.
It's crazy. I won't loan you money to buy stock in our bank, but I have enough faith in this property, in this deal, to loan you 75% of the money for the deal. It's crazy, dude. For the historical information on the fund, if you go through the portal on the site, you should have access to that. Then you can see what the returns are. Even in the book, where's the portfolio book? We have one of those in here? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, some of the deals we got in were just ridiculous. I mean, like, here, let me see.
Yeah.
Cash on cash, 40% for Harbor Bay. Harbor K was, let's see, 53% cash on cash. I mean, dude, like, this deal that I'm in with him, Stewart, which we just refinanced, and I got like $400K out of. 53.8%. 47.9%.
You know, I'm an asset manager, and I've done a couple doubles from. You know, I work for an equity partnership. We've done a couple doubles over 2 years. I mean, it's amazing. You know, I believe in it. I'm just not real bullish on California anymore.
Yeah, well, we're not buying anything in California, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, I appreciate the call, Stephen. That's great feedback. I'm so glad that you shared your story about where you're at, and for some of the folks that are on the show right now and that are watching. You know, that is the trap. Like, you get to 2 million and you plan and you chart and you do everything to prepare so that, man, by 65 I can have a couple $1 million and retire. And then you get to 60 years old and you're like, man, this isn't enough. Like, it's not enough to support the lifestyle that I want to have. So you've got to get the right information. You've got to have the right mentor. You've got to be around a group of people that'll support you, and then you got to give back, because, dude, the universe rewards that stuff, man. Like, you giving back and helping people out, like, you never know when that stuff's going to come back around. It makes you sleep good at night. You know, like we have great products here. They help people. Like, we don't scam people out of stuff. When they want their money back, we give them their money back. Like, 99% of people win with our products. Like, it's 99. The people that don't win are the ones that buy it and don't use it. Like they never even, they'll buy the book and they don't even crack the book. They buy that real estate book, they don't even open it. So, like, dude, that feels good. It feels good to come on and do this show and have people hit me up after and go, hey, thanks so much. You know, I had a question on this, and then I help them, and then 3 months later they're like, oh my God, remember when you answered me that question? Like, it changed my deal, got a new job, now I'm making twice the money. Dude, those are deposits that I'm like, okay, hey man, like, we're doing more than just them making money here. And it feels good. It feels good. We have fun. We have a good time, and people are winning. And we want the same for you. We want you to win. That's why I share my story about, like, this big score that I had this week, because it should inspire you, dude. If you feel envy or hate when somebody's sharing success with you, then you will struggle having success, because you're going to get focused on everybody else and everything else that's going on around you. And you're going to start hating. You're going to start getting envy. Dude, envy is an admission that you know you're capable of more and you're not doing it. So, like, watch yourself. We got any more? No. All right, that's it, guys. So, hey, I hope you enjoyed this show. Don't wait. Don't be patient. Don't follow the long-term, the safe play. Go all in, dude. Go all in now. Like, make the sacrifices. I had no idea when I was writing those checks in those first real estate deals where it was going to go, but I knew it was the right thing to do. I kept showing up. I kept learning and watching from Grant. I kept relying on the people around me to support me when I didn't feel like showing up. I didn't feel like making the call. You know, I wanted to stay home. I wanted to call in sick. Like, I relied on the people around me, and now I'm in a position where I can give back. So 3 things you got to do: find a mentor, find a group, and give back. Remember, the only people that condemn the hustle, your hustle, money, are the people that have already given up on all those things themselves. We'll see you next week. This is Young Hustlers.
My name's Grant Cardone. This is the Cardone Zone. Every damn day. I'm going to show you how to get money a lot cheaper than this. Hey, get yourself in a position to sit in that chair right there. Are you the solution or are you the problem?
Yeah, well, we're talking about what does it take?
They don't know you, and they're not thinking about you. They do know you, and they're not thinking about you.
They forgot you. My name's Grant Cardone. You are in the Cardone Zone, where I wake you up, I shake you up, I punch you in the face, but mostly, I'm that good uncle. What's happening, Grant Cardone? Yeah, what's happening, man? You got a deal or you got a question?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Cardone Zone, and on Thursdays at noon, the show is Young Hustlers, where we give you weekly tips on how you can get ahead in life and accelerate your path to getting where you want to go. If you want to call the show today, 305-865-8668, 305-865-8668. My name is Jared Glant, and if y'all don't know who I am, I've had the opportunity to work next to Grant Cardone, the Grant Cardone, for the last 8 years. And, you know, I got to tell you, it's completely changed my life. I've got vision I didn't have before. I have perspective I didn't have before. I understand goals like I never did before. And, man, it's been such an amazing thing for me. And everybody needs to find somebody like Grant that can really help and mentor them. And, you know, give them the information and the data that they never had growing up. Like, I don't know about you guys, but like my parents weren't rich. You know, like my parents were told the same story that most everybody's parents told them. You know, 401ks, you know, buy a home, you know, buy 2 cars. You know, stay in one place, don't move, you know, like all these stories that continue to perpetuate through generations. And I had to come across some information from this guy, Grant, that really disrupted all that. You see, like, you got to be careful who you're getting information from, because the person that you're getting information from may have a different end result than you're looking for. You know, like if the 4-hour work week, for example, I know it's not a 4-hour work week and it's about outsourcing and everything, but maybe you want to be involved. Maybe you want to have some place to show up to every day. Like I show up to this office every day. It feels good, man. We got a lot of people here. They're all committed to doing something big, and it feels good. Like, you know, my thing, you know, do I want to be on the perpetual vacation? I got to do something, man. When I go on vacation, I get bored. And so I had to get advice from somebody that was actually like in line with where I wanted to go. So today's show is going to be about how to pull your future forward. This was a very important thing for me because I have very little patience. When I finally decided and got committed to wanting to do something big, like when I really understood how much money it's going to take for me to have like the lifestyle that I wanted, and I started thinking bigger, I was like, man, I don't want to wait till I'm 60 for this. Have you guys ever like experienced that where you're like, man, dude, I don't want to wait till I'm an old man to like have money. Like, I don't want to wait until, you know, all my good years have passed me before I can actually enjoy things and go on vacations. And I got to tell you, like once you get committed to the big thing, that next thing that you're going to need to confront is, how do I make it happen faster? And so for me, I was like, man, I was calculating how to make this thing fast, how to make this thing go fast. And I got some really good news this week. I'll share you guys with you guys. I'm not boasting. I'm doing this because I want to share with you what is possible if you get committed to the right things. I've been investing in real estate deals with Grant for the last 6 years, 5.5 years. The first 3 deals that I invested in with Grant, the first deal I gave him $100,000, the second deal I gave him $150,000, and the third deal I gave him $185,000. And that was every penny that I had. And when I wrote that first check for $100,000 and I started getting the little cash flow checks every month, I was like, man, I thought this would feel different, right? Like I get like a $500 check, a $600 check. I'm like, I felt like investing $100,000 would feel a lot different than that, and I couldn't understand it, and I got so impatient. I was like, man, if I got to do this $100,000.
My name's Grant Cardone. This is the Cardone Zone every day, every damn day. I'm going to show you how to get money a lot cheaper than this. Hey, get yourself in a position to sit in that chair right there. Are you the solution or are you the problem?
Yeah, well, we're talking about what does it take?
They don't know you, and they're not thinking about you. They do know you, and they're not thinking about you.
They forgot you. My name's Grant Cardone. You are in the Cardone Zone, where I wake you up, I shake you up, I punch you in the face, but mostly, I'm that good uncle.
What's happening, Grant Cardone?
Yeah, what's happening, man? You got a deal or you got a question?